What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Saturday, May 10th, 2025, and we are back with another live here on the Torian Rain Reloaded channel. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the bell twice to be notified whenever you want to be notified. And if for any reason you do not get notified, you make sure to join the Discord and you should be able to get notified in there. So as you can see today, we're going to be talking about the mass shooting that happened on the campus of Florida State University. It happened about, I think, 3 weeks ago. But like I said, because I was on vacation, I couldn't talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it now. I think after this particular live right here, I think I'm going to be caught up on the lives that I wanted to talk about when I was away. So before we get into all of that, let me acknowledge the people who are here so far in the chat. We have Wallow J, Reparations Nations, Bills Fan 1970, Jerry Bedford, Miss Nisi, Anita Harrell, Don P, Scoop 2003, Weldon Johnson, brother man to you, Tia to you, and that is it so far in the chat. And to answer your question, Miss Nisi, yes, there will be a True Crime Sunday tomorrow, so definitely be on the lookout for that. Usually I would tell you what it's going to be on at the end of the stream, but I'm not going to tell y'all. Just remember, in the last True Crime Sunday that I did, I said the next two ones were going to be triggering. The first one will be happening tomorrow, and then the next one will be two Sundays from tomorrow. But we will be talking about this person name. I think his name is Phoenix Ikner or something like that. And a few weeks ago, he committed a mass shooting on the campus of Florida State University. So I have 3 videos that we're going to go over. The first one is going to be a press conference. It's the one that they had after they apprehended the shooter. And they're going to go over some details. That video is about 18 minutes long. And the other 2 I have is from ABC News, in which they're talking about more details surrounding the shooting itself. Ikner, appreciate News for Thought. So let me go ahead now and share my screen. And we will go ahead and get this thing started. And also shout out to everyone else who just came into the chat, and make sure if you haven't done so already to hit the like button. So this one right here is titled Update: Gunman in Florida State University Mass Shooting Was the Son of Deputy.
My name is Jason Trumbauer, and I'm the Chief of Police at Florida State University. All Florida State University classes and business operations on the main campus in Tallahassee are canceled through Friday, April 18th. Essential employees should check with their supervisors for further reporting instructions. All FSU athletic events in Tallahassee are canceled through Sunday. At approximately 11:50 a.m., Thursday, April 17th, a gunman opened fire on the main campus of Florida State University in Tallahassee, shooting multiple individuals in the vicinity of the Student Union building. FSU police responded immediately, engaged, neutralized, and apprehended the shooter. 2 victims are deceased, and 5 individuals have been transported to a local hospital with gunshot wounds. The shooter has also been transported to a local hospital. The 2 deceased are not students. The shooter is believed to be a current FSU student. I do not have additional information on the shooter's identity at this time. Students who need assistance can go to the Donald L. Tucker Center, where the university is providing counseling, healthcare, and other support services. Family members are also able to go to the Tucker Center for assistance. Students, faculty, and staff are asked to call their loved ones as soon as possible to update them on their status. The student union and the surrounding area is still considered an active crime scene. Individuals should avoid the area. Students should not return to the student union to retrieve personal property at this time. Students may return to their residence halls, but they should otherwise.
SD Johnson, you said you surprised they don't. They have the identity of the shooter. It's in my thumbnail. His name is Phoenix Ikner. That's the shooter right there. He's in the thumbnail. They do have his identity.
Otherwise, stay indoors on main campus to allow first responders and university staff to do their jobs and respond to those needing assistance. Students may depart campus for the weekend. All classes have been canceled through Friday. Before I turn this over to Chief Revel, I want to thank all the brave men and women of the FSU PD for responding immediately to the scene. I also want to thank the responding agencies who have provided assistance to FSU today big time, including the Tallahassee Police Department, the Leon County Sheriff's Office, the Florida Highway Patrol, Leon County Emergency Medical Services, FDLE, and all other responding agencies today. We really appreciate your support. That's all the information I have at this time. We'll have additional update for you later today. Chief Revel.
Good afternoon. I am Chief Revel with the Tallahassee Police Department. As the shooting occurred today, our officers, as well as every single other officer in this city and county, responded immediately to this scene. Once on scene and once we began working through what was occurring and what we were working in consultation with FSU, Tallahassee Police Department was asked to take lead on this. So we will be the lead for.
So the comment that Comic left, he said, I'm tired of lawmakers. Sorry for pausing. He said, I'm tired of lawmakers and politicians saying, why did this happen? And not, how can we stop it? Well, I can answer that for you in a couple of ways. One, because they don't know how to stop it. They can come up with so many methods, and I truly believe that every method they think they could come up with probably won't work, or it will be a method that's so draconian that they feel like it will be risky if they attempt to do it. And they're probably scared of the pushback in which it is. Because think about it, every time they want something like this happens, they always start to go into the gun reform thing. And it only comes up during that, maybe like a day. And then after some time is gone, you don't hear about it again until the next unfortunate mass shooting occurs. So honestly, I even think they know how they can stop it. Or if they do, they don't want to use that method.
For this investigation, and both the officer involved shooting portion of this as well as the homicide portion of this. I will come up after the last speaker and entertain just a few questions, but needless to say, we have multiple crime scenes. This is a very large area we're covering. We have thousands, hundreds or thousands of witnesses. And again, this is an active, ongoing investigation. So the information that we will be allowed to release right now may be fairly limited. I'll answer what I can at that time. But I will assure you that as soon as we can, any information that becomes available, we will make that available to you. One of the things in the process, and again, understand that this is an ongoing active investigation. So things are happening as we are standing here and as we are speaking. We have identified the shooter, obviously. He's at the hospital. So with more on that, I'm going to allow the sheriff to come up and speak on that portion of it.
Thank you, Chief. As Chief Revel indicated, I'm Walt McNeil, Leon County Sheriff. First and foremost, let me express our gratitude to the responding law enforcement agencies in this community. Our citizens should feel some degree of comfort knowing that your law enforcement agencies are going to respond and do exactly what we did in this case, that is bring the offender to justice and to make sure that we do what we can to make sure we lock him or her up. Let me say to you, this is obviously a heinous crime. Our deepest condolences go out to the FSU family, the families of the students who are here. And we understand that you all have been devastated because of this person's actions. The question as relates to who is the shooter is 20-year-old Phoenix Ikner. And he's a son of a Leon County sheriff.
Now, what have I told y'all? Now we got the identity of the shooter, Phoenix Ikner. What have I told you? What did the sheriff just say that I've always said when it comes to these shooters? It's something significant he just said. I want to see if y'all catch it. And I always say it. I want to see if y'all caught what the sheriff said that I always say when it comes to these mass shooters, especially those PC ones. Y'all waiting to y'all trying to figure. I guess y'all trying to figure out what I'm referring to. I'll give y'all about 10 more seconds to see if y'all can figure out what I'm referring to what the sheriff. No, not mental health, Doc Spencer. Not mental health. That's very vague. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. The age bracket, the age range. He said he's 20. What have I always said about those mass shooters? is that age range is usually falling in between 18 and like 24. He's 20. Peyton Gendron was what, 19, 18, 19? Dylan Roof was how old? Ethan Crumbly was how old? So I always talk about they fall into a certain age bracket, which means they also fall into a certain generation as well. It's very rare that they fall above that 18 to 24 age bracket, because they're always usually very young.
Deputy. Our Deputy Ikner has been with the Leon County Sheriff's Office for over 18 years. She has a tremendous job that she's done. Her service to this community has been exceptional. Unfortunately, her son had access to one of her weapons.
Now, she was a deputy in their police force. Now they're talking about his mom. She's a deputy in their police department, and he had access to one of her guns. How is that even possible? Now, for those of y'all who are unaware, they remember what happened with Ethan Crumbly and his parents. You know, they made history where in that state now, if you're a parent and your child commits a mass shooting and they use a firearm that is in your name, that you could get charges placed against you as well. I wonder if the same thing is going to happen with this deputy. That's the question I have. Will it even apply? I think that's another reason why they mentioned about his mom being a deputy, because he used her gun that was assigned to her by the department. This was not a firearm that she bought outside of her job. This was her issued firearm that he used.
And that was one of the weapons that was found at the scene. And we are continuing that investigation into how that weapon was used and what other weapons perhaps he may have had access to. The alleged shooter was also a long-standing member of the Leon County Sheriff's Office Citizen Advisory or Youth Advisory Council. So he has been steeped in the Leon County Sheriff's Office family, engaged in a number of training programs that we have. So it's not a surprise to us that he had access to weapons. This event is tragic in more ways than you people in the audience could ever fathom from a law enforcement perspective. But I will tell you this, we will make sure that we do everything we can to prosecute and make sure that we send a message to folks that this will never be tolerated here in Leon County, and I dare say across this state and across this nation. Thank you.
Too late. How many mass shootings have occurred in the state of Florida? What was that person's name a few years ago? Nicholas Cruz down at Parkland? Yeah, so it's already happened. And that was how many years ago? It seems so long ago when that happened too.
Let me bring up the FBI Assistant Special Agent in charge, Hubert Reynolds.
Good afternoon. My name is Hubert Reynolds, and I'm the acting special agent in charge of the Jacksonville Field Office. I want to echo those standing with me what a horrific crime this is, and we stand with you fully. We have an office here in Tallahassee, and we are fully engaged with providing any resources that we can bring to bear to help with this investigation moving forward. We've established a digital tips media line where you can upload photos, videos prior to and during the incident. If you're there from social media, please upload all of that. I will give you now the website address. You can upload any tips to www.fbi.gov/FSU shooting. Again, that's www.fbi.gov/FSU shooting. I want to assure you that we are going to bring every available resource to be able to help the community and the local people here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Richard McCullough, Rick McCullough, president of Florida State University. This is a tragic day for Florida State University. We're absolutely heartbroken by the violence that occurred on our campus earlier today. 2 have died. 5 other innocents are being treated for their...
So now he just said 2 died. So now he's already there. Now he has 2 counts of murder on his name, plus 5 other counts for injuries. Oh, he's done. He's done out here. They're gonna throw the book at him. I mean, I think they was gonna throw the book at him regardless, but now I think it's for certain that that's what's going to happen.
For their injuries. We're working to support the victims, their families, and everyone affected by this traumatic.
And definitely, now this is where first degree can occur. Not what they was trying to throw on Carmelo Anthony. This right here is where first degree would actually work in their favor, because this was premeditated. He planned on going to this campus to do what he did.
Event. I just returned from the hospital. The First Lady and I met some of our students who were the victims. Our hearts go out to our students and the victims of this terrible tragedy. I have to say that our law enforcement, our FSU police officers, absolute heroes in this regard. The call went out, someone called it in, and immediately they responded to the scene and immediately neutralized the suspect and prevented this from being a bigger tragedy. I want to thank them so much for what they do to try to keep our students safe. I want to thank all the law enforcement partners, FSU Police, Tallahassee Police, Leon County, Sheriff's Department, Florida Highway Patrol, and the Florida Department Law Enforcement, and all of the responding agencies for their rapid and courageous response. I want to thank everybody that came out to visit with the students and help us, and to be here today for this press conference. And I appreciate so much the support that you're all providing to our university and to our students. We're fully cooperating with the investigation, and we defer to law enforcement as they continue their work. I'd also like to thank all the healthcare providers at Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. They're treating and providing outstanding care to our victims. Right now, our top priority is safety and well-being for all the people in our campus. As it was said, classes are canceled. The main campus today and tomorrow and all FSU athletics events on Tallahassee are canceled through Sunday. We also want to tell you that counseling and psychological services are available to students, faculty, and staff, and anyone that needs that should call 850-644-2003. We're also providing support for faculty and staff through our employee assistance program. And so if you need any help, please reach out. We'll continue to communicate with the campus community as we know more. This is a deeply emotional time, but we're all here to support each other. We're going to do everything we can to support our community. We're a strong and united community. We're family. And so we'll take care of all of you. And we'll get through this together. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we will take a few questions. Let me just reiterate, this was a massive response, a massive response of law enforcement personnel. Our federal, state, local partners have continued to build relationships that long preceded this event. And that came into great play today in the seamless way that we all came together to work these events. But I know you'll have some specific questions. I will tell you right now, we are not going to talk about the victims, other than the fact that there are 6 of them, two additional deceased, and then the suspect, so 9 total persons. 9 total persons. Yes, sir.
That's 9 counts right there. He said 9 in total. He said 2 were deceased, but 9 in total were injured from the shooting. So that's 9 counts he already has in total against him, with 2 of the heaviest ones being because 2 died. Yeah, so they about to send him up the river without a paddle.
Been able to talk to the suspect at all? Any idea about motive?
The suspect invoked his rights not to speak to us.
Chief, do we know if the weapon that was used was his parents' service weapon? And if so, what are the rules around storing service weapons?
Right. No, that's a good question. This weapon was a weapon that the deputy previously used. A lot of times, many agencies, mine included, when we transition to a new handgun, the officers are allowed to purchase the handgun they used prior. And correct me if I'm wrong, Sheriff, but I believe that's the case here. This was a handgun that deputy used prior to them transitioning to a new handgun. And so it was her personal handgun.
Is she put on leave or?
The sheriff would have to speak to that.
We will do a thorough investigation to look at all aspects of it. There's no cause right now that we're aware of that require her to be placed on any kind of suspension or otherwise.
Yes, ma'am.
We've been hearing stuff that it was a deputy who was a school resource officer. Is that true?
That is correct.
Chief, those injured, those killed, or any of those members of law enforcement?
I'm sorry?
Anyone who died in the shooting or was injured in the shooting, were any of them members of law enforcement? Whether it be
No, they were not. They were not. Yes, sir.
Did law enforcement arrive? Did the suspects engage with them, or did he surrender immediately?
No, they challenged him and ended up shooting. He did not comply with commands and was shot.
There you go. What does PC love to tell us? To just comply? Don't they just love to tell us to just comply? And what did he just say? Oh, he didn't comply, so he was shot. But notice they didn't go for the kill shot. They shot the injured. So it sounds to me like they knew exactly where to aim for that. Because now he's laid up in the hospital. Well, I don't know if he's still there now, but that's where he was at the time of this conference.
I do not believe he fired at officers.
We heard that Phoenix may be autistic. Are you able to confirm that detail?
I do not have that detail.
Oh, so someone was asking about a mental illness. Someone asking, was he autistic? Listen, I am aware of there are people out there that are autistic, but I don't know many people who are autistic who will go out and voluntarily or willingly do what this guy did. So we ain't about to try to do that mental health or he had some kind of underlying ailment. Crap. He knew exactly what he was doing and did it.
Is there an idea of the victims yet?
I'm sorry?
Idea of the victims.
We're not releasing any of the victim information at this time.
Was the officer aware of any behavioral conditions or concerns or threats prior to this incident?
We were not.
How quickly did officers arrive on scene for the 911 call to want to engage the suspect?
We will get you that information. I don't have that currently. I assume that would be a question that was asked, but I mean, it was almost immediately. That FSU, obviously this is their campus and they patrol it very well. So they were on scene almost immediately, engaged almost immediately. And then everyone else, again, was a massive, very quick response.
So you said that the two deceased were not students. Do we know of those 5 that were injured or any of them students?
Again, we're not releasing any information on the students on the victims at this point.
Specifically, what firearms did you use?
I'm sorry?
What kind of firearms did you use?
It was a handgun.
What kind of handgun?
I don't know what type of handgun that was. It was probably a 40. No, I don't know.
Chief, I heard reported that a shotgun was also recovered on campus. Was that used in the shooting?
We do know that he had a shotgun with him. We have not confirmed anyone was shot with a shotgun at this point. But again, that could change as we, again, there are hundreds and hundreds of witnesses. And as we piece all of this back together, information will come to light that we may not have at this point. So I do not believe so at this point.
We'll take one more question. Will body cam footage of radio dispatch or any logs be released in the near future?
I'm sorry, say again.
Will there be any body cam footage or radio dispatch logs or incident reports being released anytime soon?
We will work with the state attorney's office, which we always do, in pulling together all the information, all the investigative evidence from this case, and in collaboration with State Attorney Campbell, we will make that determination. Obviously, after the case is over, we will certainly, it all becomes available at that point. But as to what we can and will release at that point, like I said before, we're very open, transparent on these things. Again, the officers did an incredible job. But again, some of this is very horrific. This is a horrific incident. And so we will, again, collaborate with the state attorney's office and determine which of that evidence could be released or will not be released. But again, I will let you know that as soon as we make that determination. So thank you all very much. Appreciate you being here. And just let me reiterate what's already been said. The collaboration between all of the agencies, the federal, the state, the local, all of our first responders, our EMS personnel, our fire department, again, just a massive response, immediate treatment to the victims that were there, the transport of them. Again, it was a very seamless response to this tragedy. And that goes to the training that we all do repeatedly, individually as agencies and together. The incident command came together very, very quickly. And again, I could not be more proud of the response and more horrified at the act. So thank you very much.
Can you please just real quick verify that one more time, the number of people injured and dead are those 8?
Sure. Total number of 9, and that includes the suspect. So there are 6 victims that are injured, 2 victims that are dead, and 1 suspect. And let me just reiterate this because I'm not sure we said this. We have no reason to believe at this point that he did not act alone. So there is no further threat to our community at this point.
All right, so that's the whole press conference right there. And before I go on to the next thing, let me acknowledge the members as well as the super chat. Shout out to Stay Positive for being a member for 33 months. He said, "Hey, Torian and fam, our new Black media really matters. B1, I appreciate you." Shout out to Doc Spencer for being a member for 3 months. I appreciate you. And also shout out to SG Johnson for the 5. He said, "I had to throw this for the Triple P early. I appreciate that." And shout out to everyone who was there for that. So now we're about to move on to this next piece of audio. And this is coming from CBS. I think this is a CBS. Yeah, CBS News. So let's see what they're talking about on here. They says FSU student shares his experience following deadly campus shooting.
Classes remain canceled at Florida State University following Thursday's deadly shooting as authorities work to figure out the events that led to the incident. Philip Allison joins us now. He is an FSU student who works at the student union where the shooting occurred, although he wasn't working at the time. Philip, my condolences to you and the entire FSU community. I'm so sorry for what you all are going through. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right given the circumstances. There's still a level of shock about everything, but at this point, some people are trying to, I guess, get back into the swing of things because even though this tragedy just happened, we still have to go back to, a lot of the things in our lives, even though class is canceled. I know when the attack started yesterday, I was just walking back from one of the dining halls and I heard what I assumed was construction. We have construction all the time. I hear it all the time. Then, cops wound up being everywhere and had to make a very ungraceful rush back to my dorm, lock the door, and just wait it out. A very stressful moment for all of us, especially the ones who were closer to the actual attack. I was very lucky, all things considered. But other people who were in the union, I have friends who were in the union. I have friends who saw the actual shooting. They're having a hard time pushing through right now. And I said earlier about trying to get back into the swing of things. For some people, it's a lot harder. I've noticed a lot of kids with suitcases, a lot of cars leaving Tallahassee. A lot of people are going back home just to be with their families. My RA from my dorm sent out a poll to see who is staying, who's going. I say it's about 50-50 right now. So a lot of people are leaving, a lot of people are still staying. I personally would like to stay. I'm staying right now just because, I don't want this to derail my life. I know it's very hard to get through, and I know I'm very lucky in a lot of ways because it didn't happen right in front of me. But I'm just trying to keep most everything together. And that's a sentiment that some other people at the school are also sharing. I went to the same dining hall today that I did yesterday. People were still there. The gym still is about half full. Like I said, there's a good portion of people who are heading out for the weekend to be with their families, but there's still a good number of people who are staying here. And I think that just comes down to a personal decision of whether you want to push through it here or would rather just take some time to recollect yourself in the wake of such a tragedy.
Philip, how close in proximity is the dining hall dorm route that you were on from the student union?
Well, dining hall is a bit of the way down the road from the student union. I usually just take a diagonal path back. If I had to guess, it would have been like a 5-minute walk from the union. I make that walk all the time when I go to work. When I first heard the shots, I had no idea in terms of what the proximity was to me. But luckily it was still in the union.
We're hearing that the response time by police was very fast, and the way you describe it, you heard the shots and then you saw police running. Is that your understanding as well, that the response was very quick from law enforcement?
From what I've seen, I mean, I spent most of the lockdown in my room. I didn't have like a great view of everything, but I'd never seen like FSU PD moving like that before. That was when I kind of realized that something was up, that it wasn't just construction. So when you see a cop just like going across campus that quickly, it's like something serious. I also saw a bunch of students kind of running, covering their heads. And that kind of told me what was going on.
Well, Philip, again, we are so sorry that we're talking to you under these circumstances, but we appreciate your time and we appreciate you answering these questions. And we hope that you have a good rest of your semester. Thank you.
All right. So that video right there, that was from one of the people that was at this, there on campus the day of the shooting. So I guess they just wanted to interview someone who was there so they can get a firsthand account of what was going on. Now I have one more video to go over, and then I'll go ahead and drop the link. So this one says, well, first off, that has something completely different to do. That's about Luigi Mangione. It says FSU student says mass shooting suspect was asked to leave political club over comments. So now we might have a little slight motive as to why he did this, but let's see what they're talking about.
Following the latest developments out of Tallahassee, Florida, where a mass shooting left 2 people dead and 6 others injured. It happened at Florida State University. Police say the suspect is a 20-year-old student at the school. He is the stepson of a sheriff's deputy who was able to get his hands on his stepmother's former service revolver. We're joined now by FSU student Reed Seabold, who was on campus when all this took place. Reed, before I ask you about what happened and your experience during this mass shooting, just how are you doing? How are you feeling? How does your family feel knowing that you survived another mass shooting in America?
I haven't really begun to process any of this. There's still so much adrenaline pumping through my body. And my family, they're relieved that I'm okay and I'm alive, and the same with my friends and my loved ones. But we're really at a loss because this wasn't a failure of gun control. This was simply a failure.
Yeah. But I think you're right on about that, because as we've reported, the suspect allegedly got the weapon from his mother, who's a sheriff's deputy, a stepmother. Where were you when the shooting happened?
For sure. So I was in the Bellamy building, the College of Social Sciences. We were in the basement. We had our class canceled so we could work on a group project, but our group made the decision to go into the classroom to work. And so we were down there. 2 students ran in yelling about a shooting. And from there, we very quickly locked down. We were locked down for about an hour. And we were, hugging those next to us for some comfort. Didn't matter if we knew them or not. It was just the person next to you. And we were getting ready for the worst.
When getting ready for the worst, I can't imagine. I mean, can you take me through your state of mind and the state of mind of your fellow students at that moment when you realize that there is a mass shooting happening, and you have no idea where this individual is, the suspect, and where he is shooting people from? So it could be anywhere. I can't imagine sort of the mental gymnastics that one has to do to try to wrap your mind around the unknown like that.
Sure. So I every day carry, and the only place I don't carry is on campus because it's a felony, and those who are lawful gun owners and those who carry legally don't either. So my initial feeling was of nakedness, if you will. I felt unsafe because I didn't have the agency to protect myself and those around me. And so what we instead of going to protection, we actually went into intelligence mode. Because this is a class for the Florida State Intelligence Program. So we all went on an intelligence finding mission, essentially. We were trying to get any information possible from wherever we could. And we started to see a bunch of misinformation. At some point, my mother heard about 34 people being dead. And so that's kind of when it started to worry us, was when there was a bunch of different reports.
So you knew the suspect apparently from a political club at your former college. We've heard from some folks who grew up with them. I'm always apprehensive to suggest that somebody who commits a heinous act because they're introverted or because they're quiet or because they may seem strange to people would lead them to believe that someone could do such a thing. I was an introverted kid. I was quiet. I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, and I never once thought to do anything like this. So what can you tell us about who he was and what type of person he was?
For sure. So, like you said, I'm not going to speculate as to why he might have done it, but Phoenix had a history of espousing alt-right and white supremacist rhetoric. I remember hearing somewhere that at some point he said that Rosa Parks was in the wrong. He continued to do this, and when he was part of that club, to which I was president, it got to the point where we had to ask him to leave. And at some point after I had left, he had been allowed back, and according to the current president, he continued to espouse white supremacist rhetoric. Now, I'm not.
There it is. There it is. There it is. Somebody had asked earlier, what kind of stuff was he into? Let me run it back.
Point where we had to ask him to leave. And at some point after I had left, he had been allowed back, and according to the current president, he continued to espouse white supremacist rhetoric.
There it is. It only took us 3 videos, well, 3.5, because we still got like a little over a minute left with this one, to get to the meat and potatoes of it. So he was spouting white supremacist rhetoric in this club that didn't allow him to do it. He came back and was still doing it. Now, as True Royal says, the plot thickens. So now it's gonna make me wonder, like, what's on them hard drives? Like, what kind of online forums was he in? What kind of, did he keep a journal? Was he like, did he have a Discord, a Telegram, or Reddit, whatever? And what was he saying on there? Because if he was sprouting white supremacist rhetoric, you can almost guarantee that he was anti-black.
Now, I'm not going to say whether
that too, Mansa Musa, did he have a manifesto?
That's why he would have shot up the school or not. But there was a history there. I don't think it had anything to do with him being quiet or off. We really don't know.
So wait, Reed, you essentially kicked him out of the club. Can you just, besides suggesting to folks that Rosa Parks was in the wrong, what would have led you to remove him from this club?
For sure. So it got to the point really where he was making enough people uncomfortable to where it was either he shows up or a good number of people show up. And that's kind of when we had to make that decision. But he took it well, all things considered, nothing to raise a red flag. And from what I understand, he ended up at the Turning Point chapter on campus, seemed to have found friends there, I guess. But I haven't really kept up with him much since then. I've seen him a couple times in passing, but he, seemed fairly normal.
And in your club, there were no writing submissions, or in other words, there's nothing on paper of him espousing some of those views when he was part of this club?
No, this is just a roundtable talk group about, current events of the day. We didn't really keep minutes or anything. We just, it was supposed to be a respectful conversation among peers. And when he went beyond that, that's when we had to do that.
Wow. All right. Some really fascinating insight there from Reed Siebold, a student at Florida State University who knew the suspected shooter. Reed, thanks for your time. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you and your classmates are okay. And stay safe out there.
Okay. So now that we know that, this just made me want to go down the rabbit hole even further with this one. Now that we know that he spouted white supremacist rhetoric, that made me, while that video was playing, go in Google. I had to put myself on mute because I know y'all didn't want to hear my ASMR style typing. And this is what I came across here. Hold on, let me share my screen right quick, because he mentioned something about Rosa Parks. So all I did was I went to Google and I typed in Phoenix Ikner Phoenix Ikner Rosa Parks, and this is what came up. Florida State University shooting suspect thought Rosa Parks was quote unquote wrong and black people were ruining his neighborhood. Dated Friday, April 18, 2025. Now, my thing is this. Why didn't that come up in the press conference, or did they quote unquote not know about it? That's what I'd like to know. We're going to read through this. Because I wasn't even expecting to read an article, but since we're here, we might as well go all the way. FSU shooting suspect Phoenix Ikner was known for his controversial views as a student who espoused so much white supremacist rhetoric. The suspect in a mass shooting yesterday at Florida State University opened fire on the college campus at 11:50 a.m. local time, but according to his classmates, he had crossed the line before. After officials identified the shooter as the son of a sheriff, Phoenix Ikner, age 20, who killed 2 and left 6 injured in the melee, his classmates are speaking out to fill in the picture of who he was. Ikner, who changed his name from Christian Gunnar Erickson to Phoenix Ikner in 2020, was known by some as a normal college dude, according to NBC News. However, others, including FSU senior Reed Siebold, claim Ikner espoused white supremacist ideals. Siebold knew Ikner from a political debate club at Tallahassee State College, which I believe was the guy that was just speaking in the video, where he attended for 2 years before transferring to FSU. He told the outlet that Ikner espoused so much white supremacist rhetoric and far-right rhetoric as well that he was ultimately asked not to return. Another member of the group and current president, Riley Pusins, confirmed to NBC that Ikner supported President Donald Trump's political agenda and often touted white supremacist ideals, even though the club was nonpartisan. Pusins added how many in the club considered the suspect a fascist. He said that after the meetings, the suspect would often make more inappropriate comments. According to the current club president, Ikner would go up to the line in meetings and then cross the line in discussions later. Ikner was known for his controversial views inside the classroom as well. I got into arguments with him in class over how gross the things he said were. Lucas Luzietti, a politics student who shared a class with Ikner. According to Lucas, Ikner lauded right-wing conspiracy theories and hateful ideas. He reportedly pushed theories like former President Joe Biden gained the office illegally, Rosa Parks was in the wrong, and black people were, quote, ruining his neighborhood. I remember this man should not have access to firearms, Lucas told the outlet, adding, what are you supposed to do? His mother was a cop, and Florida doesn't have very strong red flag laws. Red flag laws currently on the books in 21 states and the District of Columbia can enable someone who is worried about a gun owner posing a danger to themselves, to others, to have the authorities seize the weapons. In January, a week before the inauguration, Ikner was quoted in FSU student newspaper in a story about anti-Trump protests happening on campus. January was also the last time he attended the debate club. I wouldn't be surprised if it was around that time that he started to plot out what he did last month. The rally organized by Tallahassee Students for a Democratic Society called for an end to the war on the Gaza Strip, racist attack on immigrants, according to the article. These people are usually pretty entertaining, usually not for good reasons, said Ikner, who was listed as a political science major, according to an archive online report from FSUnews.com. I think it's a little too late. He, as in Trump, is already going to be inaugurated on January 20th. And there's not really much you can do unless you outright revolt, and I don't think anyone wants that. After the shooting on Thursday, the student newspaper removed Ikner's quote from the article at the decision of our editors to maintain ethical journalistic standards and avoid amplifying the voice of an individual responsible for violence. While speaking to NBC News, despite what Sabo did know about Ikner, he was still trying to wrap his head around why his classmate opened fire yesterday afternoon. He's quoted as saying, I don't know why he would have done something like this. I don't know where it would have come from, but I'd sure like to find out. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So now we have more information that he was, let's just call it what it is. He was a white supremacist. If you spout those views, that's just, hey, that's what you are. That's what you believe. Exactly, school. Listen, at that moment right there, when he started saying stuff like that, I would have immediately said something, especially if you have proof that he did, even if you have to sneak record, like bait it out of him, which it sounds to me like he didn't have any problem just outright saying anything. You have your proof right there. Then you turn it into the authorities because you don't know where it's going to lead to. Imagine if they would have had something on him and they would have and they did, and they took it to the authorities months ago. It's not like he just started doing that and then the next week he did what he did. You didn't have enough time to, get something out there. But they started noticing this back in January. But anyway, there's the link, y'all. If y'all would like to come up and speak, y'all feel free to go ahead, and I will be turning on the timer. So if anybody would like to come up, you have 2 minutes. Wallow, what's going on?
What's going on, Torian? What's going on in the chat? First off, condolences to those people that got injured for somebody acting like an asshole. Two things. Well, one thing, I'm gonna go with here first. A lot of this stuff is America fault, because remember back in 2009 and 2018, those two school shootings, that was the Virginia Tech shooting and that was the Parkland shooting. America decided to do nothing with gun laws, especially not just Portland. I forgot one. 2012, that was Sandy.
Aurora.
Huh?
Oh, I thought you was talking about Aurora, the one in the movie theater. But
no, not movie theater. The school shootings. No, the school shootings. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people remember 2012, 2013. Remember, because that's when I realized America was never going to do anything about these gun laws. After they let those kids get slaughtered, and they didn't do nothing, that the House, the Senate didn't want to pass no gun laws or nothing. That's when I knew. I said, "Yeah, America don't want to change nothing."
Yeah, because they knew it was going to impose on them. If it was a thing where it didn't affect them, they would have been past it.
Yeah, like I said, damn. I said, they're not that right there. Let me know. Also, for him, like why every time we read these manifestos about recently about all these killers, they have some hate towards us, but then they go out and kill people of their ilk.
Exactly.
It's the craziest thing.
Exactly, because they said this happened on FSU, and FSU is definitely a PWI, so it would definitely be way more of them than us on that campus. And it sounds to me like it doesn't sound like these, as far as we know, it doesn't sound like that he targeted them. It just sounds like these were just random people. He was like, whoever he got, that's who he shot. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention this. If you look at the thumbnail, it says less than 5 minutes. The reason why it says that is because he managed to do all of this literally in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know you saw the videos going around about them being upset because they thought the black student was filming. And they come to find out it was a white LGBT guy. And then also there was a video going around. They was upset. They saw a black female officer directing traffic. That pissed them off too.
Yeah.
And I was like, out of all the things to be pissed off about right now, you pissed off seeing a black woman in action? Really? This is what we still doing this. I said, okay. I said, y'all gonna fuck around and find out real fast, but I'm gonna land my plane there, Torian. B1.
B1. All right, shout out to Wallow for coming up. Yeah, Uvalde, that's a whole nother can of worms. All right, next up we got Mansa Musa. What's going on?
Oh, hey, what's going on? You hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Well, I just want to say this. First and foremost, they make the laws to break the laws. And I think everybody should understand what I mean when I say that. They make the laws to break the laws. And if you happen to find a loophole within that same law that they created, all they do is go back and appeal and repeal laws to create other loopholes. So again, they make the laws to break the law. So what we'll be looking at is pretty much the same thing we've always been looking at. You know, just looking at the thumbnail of the guy, he looked like a snot nose kind of kid. He looked like snot was about to come out his nose, but yeah, this is just another case of what we're seeing. This just is what it is, unfortunately. So all I can say is people who's into the law or studying law, do your best to research the law. Even if you have to check out C-SPAN or Snore-SPAN in this instance, because I just fall asleep watching that shit. But yeah, just keep your eyes on the laws, family. Things gonna keep changing. So other than that, B1, I'm out of here.
B1. All right, shout out to Mansa Musa for coming up. What's going on, gamers then? But yeah, another day, another mass shooting. You want to know what's so crazy about it all? Is that there were probably about 5 to 10 more that happened since then that we didn't hear about. That's the crazy part. And this happened, on the 17th of April? And guess who, again, did not talk about it? The usual suspects. Because, again, at the time, what were they all crashing out about? Carmelo Anthony. And you can't tell me they didn't know about this because I saw this trending on Twitter. So if I saw it trending, I know they saw it trending because they live on Twitter. I don't know how they do it. And that's another thing about Dub S is it's like, do any of y'all have a life outside of Twitter? Because I be looking up and down their timelines and these people be posting like 30 times a day. I don't know how you do it. My tweet minimum is usually probably about no more than 5, if that, 3 maybe. And usually 2 of the 3 is me posting the link showing the video that's about to pop up or the live that I'm about to do. But them, on the other hand, they be going on marathons on their page. And I'm talking about before the sun comes up. Some of them probably ain't brushed their teeth. Some of them probably ain't washed their face or you know what? I mean, all day long, all up until the night. I'm like, do you get any sleep? It's weird. It's very weird. But it looks like it's not anybody else that's going to be coming up today to speak to this topic, but that's okay. I'm glad that everyone came through. Shout out to everybody that contributed, all of the members, all the mods, everybody over there on Patreon. We will be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow, I do have a video. It's going to be an update about the Tyree Nichols situation. That one was just some utter BS. That'll be coming tomorrow at 10. And then also we will be having True Crime Sunday tomorrow as well. Y'all will find out what the True Crime Sunday topic is going to be at 5. I think at 5, because I have it set for y'all to see the thumbnail on the community tab. So y'all will see what the topic is going to be on. And I have a feeling that's the one right there. A lot of people are going to be really tuned in for. Because I honestly didn't have it in the lineup, but then I had to think about it and what this upcoming week was and say, yeah, I have to insert that in here. But with that being said, y'all let me know. I'm sorry. With that being said, we are about to get up out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Saturday. It's a beautiful day outside. Just go outside, do your thing, have fun, and all of that good stuff. And we will be back on here tomorrow. Be safe, be healthy, but most importantly, be one.